Welcome, everybody. Great to have you with us here on The Dynasty, a podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. New episodes dropping each week. YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're looking for the show, just go to thedynastybama.com. And wherever you're listening, we ask you rate, review, and share across social media at The Dynasty Bama. On today's show, obviously, reaction to Alabama's win over South Carolina gets the Tide to 7-1. We're going to look at the good, the bad, the ugly, and in addition, a comment or two about changes going on with head coaches, not only around the SEC, but around the country as well. I'm Chris Stewart, along with national champions A.J. McCarron, Trent Richardson. Glad you're with us. And first things first, Lieutenant Senator Governor potential McCarron, big announcement for you this week. And I just want you to know, despite the fact that I was the 4-time student body president at Central Park Christian School, I will not be taking my political expertise to the field and run against you. I will defer to you in this. And Trent Richardson, who was in charge of safety patrol down at school, will not be running against you either. We're giving the field to you.
Well, I appreciate that.
You got it.
Hey, congrats, man. You can have that life.
Yeah. No. I know it's a big deal, big commitment, you and your family, just the campaign part of it. And we're glad that first and foremost, you're going to still be a part of us, but we know that's something that got a lot of attention, and we're excited for you to have that opportunity.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a calling that takes a lot, but it's also an honor and a blessing to be able to have this chance just to, get into public service and help serve Alabamians and have a chance to make a difference in our great state. So I'm excited. I'm also excited to still be a part of this and for now and in the future, and still get to, do what I love with you fellas and talk football and old times and break down us, hopefully winning some more national championships in the future.
Well, took another step that direction this week, Trent. A good win. Again, I've said it on the air, and you guys know far better. I've got rings because of you guys. I had nothing to do with it. But, championship teams find a way to get it done when they're not playing at their best, and that's definitely was the case for Alabama on Saturday.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, man, every championship team got to have a test, right? I know we got tested early on in the season against Florida State. It didn't go as well. But we have, we have regained our feet. We have, begin to go on that mountain cliff that we need to get to, Mount Everest. It's kind of one of those things we used to have like a picture, and you had every game on there. You used to have whoever it was, then you have then you have one to where you can stumble on.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's on you to get past that. For me, this was a great iron match, man. It was everything that we needed as far as the SEC play. Guys, we do got to get better at some things, but I do think this was a test that let us know that, first, Ryan Grubb, bag of tricks, is very deep. Ty, he's just a playmaker, and that doggone Germie Bernard.
Man.
Serious.
Best player on the field to me. I mean, doesn't get the height, but the best player on the field.
100%. Listen, I mean, we've been saying it on this show since the start of the year. That Bernard is really your top guy and Swiss Army knife and everything that you can do so many things with him. But listen, I think it's just an awesome win. I said it last week's show. That I knew this place was going to be tough to play at. I mean, it's loud. That's why I said we had to start fast. You had to stay ahead of the sticks. You had to try to take the crowd out of it, because if it came down to where you started the fourth quarter and they are in the ball game or they have the lead, like, it's going to be tough to get a win there. It's just the way it goes. And they had all the momentum, and what an unbelievable play by Deontae and TK, getting Sellers, the strip on Sellers at the end, because listen, South Carolina had all the momentum. You tied the ball game up, but you could still feel it in that stadium. Hell, you could feel it through the TV where it just seemed like, all right, they were going to drive down, eat up the clock, put the ball in Sellers' hands, get some runs, maybe a pass here and there, but probably have a chance to go down, kick a field goal to win it. Um, but I think it's such a great test for this team, and it shows the growth this team has made from the first game to now in the season to be able to battle the adversity, not only on the field but the mental part of it too, because you didn't see
Right.
the quit, and
Mm.
you didn't see that in week 1 at Florida State. So to see that, uh, to be able to battle the mental side of the adversity is awesome.
How about, Trent, the fact that your captains are involved in most critical plays? And I know that there was some questions at the start of the year about naming captains before the season gets started. But man, with Deontae and TK on the defensive side, we know what Parker Brailsford has been, and that gets kind of forgotten that he's the other captain, but such a big part of being truly the anchor on that offensive front. And then with what Ty did down the stretch, when he didn't have his best game. I mean, he missed a throw. He missed a couple of them, but he missed one to Germie in the fourth quarter that's going to go for 6. Um, just sailed it a little bit. But when you had to have it, he was fantastic. But just for those guys to be who they were in that situation, tell me what it does for the locker room to have your leaders truly and clearly lead that way.
For me, man, it's one of those things to where like leaders gonna lead regardless. Win, lose, or draw. You can tell who the guys that's been there and that is different. And this stuff really means something to them. The stuff that Germie Bernard did, the stuff that Deontae Lawson, the stuff that Keenan did. It's amazing, man. When you got your leaders making big plays in critical moments,
Yeah.
it just lets you know that like, man, we do have the guys to win this thing. Listen, and we got the guys that's not going to be denied. And so you got those guys leading the train, man. Like it's big, and it teach those younger guys. Because I used to watch Rolando McClain and Mark and Julio and all those guys lead in their own way. Julio was a guy who didn't lead with his voice. He led with his play. He led with his presence. Mark was he was a guy that was on the camera. Roe was more, he was calm, but he was going to make sure the whole team knew exactly what to do as far as
Yeah.
defense, and he was going to be after the team the whole time. And so when you got those guys out there like that, and I mean, we had some great guys. We had Javier, we had Kareem Jackson. So it's taught us a lot. And so I hope those guys that's behind them see that, hey, this stuff means a lot to these guys. This might be the last time some of these guys put on the uniform. And so when you hear that and you know what the situation is, I mean, it's
Right.
a must game win. You get those type of results for those, big time guys, that it means something too.
AJ, we're sitting there, and it's an 8-point game, and the place is going nuts, and you hadn't moved the football in the second half. And then you move it enough to where you realize this is it. This is the last drive. It's here or it's probably nothing. And they go on that drive that chews up 7.5 minutes. I got to go back and look, but I think it was a 14-play drive. Yeah, 14 plays,
Yeah,
79
14.
yards, 7:38 off the clock.
Yep.
And you get the touchdown, and then, good grief, the play that's set up for the 2-point conversion, fantastic as well.
Yep.
And then the defense does get the play. But tell me about the pressure that's put on South Carolina. Oh, twofold. Tell me first about what that looked like to you to see the offense drive the way they did, but also the pressure it put on South Carolina when you've had things go wrong and now, they've scored. And it was a
Yeah.
third down situation when he fumbles that football.
Yeah. No, I mean, and we've talked about it. For whatever reason, and listen, you go through these lulls in the season where You could start the year out great on offense, and then you kind of teams start to catch on, and then you kind of as a coaching staff and offense readjust a little bit and tweak some things, and teams might catch on to where, hey, they love running this concept out of this formation, and now we got to find new ways to disguise it. I think, which is why Grubb does so many shifts and motions and stuff, because they're getting back to the same formations. It's eye candy, right? So you start in a 2x2, you end up in a 3x1, or you motion to a 4x. So it's there's so many things that go with it, but the lulls that we've had the last couple of weeks in the second half has been a little tough. If you didn't have, the pick six, really the offense had 14 points.
Yeah.
And so we got to find a way to keep growing as an offense, not have second half lulls on the offensive side, continue to run the ball better. But it's awesome to see the boys put it together when you need it. Listen, we've all had those games. I mean, uh, famous drive of LSU in Baton Rouge. Like we had dudes hurt. We had guys playing different positions that hadn't played those positions. It throws the timing off. And then when it was, time to make something happen, we made it happen. So
Yeah.
that's awesome to see, because that is the makeup of a championship team, is when you need things to happen and it hasn't been going your way, guys put it together and go make plays. And then the pressure for, South Carolina, I mean, really, I think it's more pressure for our defense, because South Carolina had all the momentum. Even when we scored and tied the game up, and with a great play call, the 2-point conversion and some trickery there, South Carolina still had the momentum. I mean, the entire student section for South Carolina in that stadium was down on the fence. They were ready to storm the field. Everybody felt it, right? Like that they were just going to go down, eat up the clock, and Sellers was going to make his plays with his legs that he had been making the whole second half pretty much. And it wasn't so much of him, like I said the week before, him beating us with his arm doesn't scare me. It's not keeping him in the pocket, not containing him from a drop back standpoint, and then he takes off, or zone reads, not being on our keys, and letting him get outside. And to come up with a play like that, listen, like y'all know this, meeting Keenan before the year starts. He was such an unbelievable dude, awesome, great to get to know him. And then Deontae, I've known Deontae for a while. He goes to my kid's school back in the day, and so it was awesome for those two dudes that, like you said, Chris, that are captains, and to step up to that pressure, and the defense as a whole to make plays like that towards the end and get the ball back. Hell, you could hear a pin drop, I'm sure, in that stadium once that happened.
So nice.
Yeah. So it's great.
But it was so stinking loud. Everybody, I'd never been for a game before. 2010, Tyler Watts and I were doing pre and post game, and we had done replay broadcast up until then. But that was among the seasons I think that they had just stopped that. So we didn't travel. So I didn't experience it in person. 2019, I was in the hospital, didn't make the trip. So this was my first time to be there, despite all the good grief. I've probably done 30 baseball games there and probably 15 basketball games, but never for football. It was every bit as good an environment as I've always heard. And that's a credit to their fan base, because I don't mean this disrespectfully. It's just a fact. They got virtually no history. LSU's supposed to be loud. They got some history there. Georgia, same way. Auburn, all that. South Carolina has hardly done anything, and their fans still show up and make an incredible amount of noise. And it's not just the PA with Sandstorm. I mean, they do. They're loud.
They're loud.
I tip my hat to them. They're behind their team, but Alabama handled that and weathered all that, Trent, even, like I said at the very start, when they weren't their best.
Man, listen, I know the first thing I looked at when the game came on was that student session.
Yeah.
That student session hunt me and Mark. And probably AJ too.
Yeah, that's true.
I was like, oh my God, I hope these guys don't fall into the same trap, man. But they took care of business, man. And listen, Lenore Sellers, man, that kid is amazing. I think he played lights out. I mean, he had a couple, mistakes, but he did that as a warrior. Like, he went out fighting. And so that kid get all the props from me. And that's just something we're gonna have to get better at, man. A quarterback, that can run, that can move around. We're gonna have to get better at defending that. And I think that, when it came to big plays that we needed, the guy showed up. But man, it's tough to just be dependent on those type of, plays to happen.
Here's another piece that we don't talk a lot about. I don't know that we've talked about it at all. It's in no way a criticism of the guys now, or where it is now. But the reality is, when you look at your roster, too deep, when you guys played, and you compare it to the too deep now, okay, it's not the same. You guys had NFL players, and it doesn't justify letdowns and things like that, I know. But you guys had NFL players everywhere. It may have been the most complete roster, depth-wise, that Alabama football has ever had. And I know that's saying an awful lot. There were guys lining up against Alabama for South Carolina that played at Alabama and would have played Saturday for Alabama. So in this day and age, do we judge too harshly what great looks like today or very, very good looks like today because it's not as good as great or good even 5 years ago, let alone when you guys played?
I don't. I mean, I don't think so. I mean, because you still every starter, and even the backup guys, they're just younger. It doesn't mean they're not going to be NFL guys. I think it's just they're in a younger phase than what during our time there, to where you could have a senior starting, and then right behind that, that's going to be an NFL guy was a junior.
Yeah.
I
And I
think
guess that's
the
what I meant more of it.
yeah.
Because
I
those
think that's the
intermediate guys
difference.
are getting paid and playing now other
Yeah,
places.
yeah, right. I think that's the difference in the depth. Is just your starters are your starters. I think talent wise, it's all equivalent. I think from a depth standpoint, it's just back in our time, depth was okay. It was a junior or a redshirt sophomore, a kid that had been there instead of like a true sophomore or a true freshman. So, I mean, because listen, say what you want. If you, um, you look at the depth this receiving core has, I mean, eh, they're pretty loaded.
Yeah.
I
You're
don't.
right. No question.
They, I mean, you got dudes that are, I think, first round dudes. And it's not just one or two. I think even the younger guys are going to eventually to be, first round guys. And then we don't know what the running back side of it is. And the O line's struggling at certain points, but you still got Brailsford, you still got Caden. I mean, you got dudes that are going to be high NFL picks. So I don't know. That's a good question though.
Let me ask you. Go ahead, Trent, if you got a
You
thought
got
on
you got
that.
it.
No, I
You
was
got
just
it.
going to say,
AJ hit it
with
right on the head.
with Germie, we said he's probably the best player on the field.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hands
even
down.
though he didn't get all the credit, is the most unsung player, the guy that has value, but we don't talk enough about. Maybe a kid named Blake Doud. And if I just said his name to probably 75% of Bama fans, they may not know who in the heck I'm talking about, but you punter in a ball game like that, punts it 5 times. This guy came from a D2 school or NAIA school, Colorado School of Mines or Pantomimes or whatever it was. 5 carries. 5 punts. Averaged 55.5 yards per punt. So he had 5 kicks, 50-plus yards. 3 of them were inside the 20-yard line. I mean, from wondering if we had a kicker to having a guy who very quietly has become that type of weapon in key moments, that is really, really, really big.
Yeah, it's special when your specialist can do stuff like that, man. I'm telling you, because man, when you get the ball bagged into the 2 or the 3 or the, you know what I mean, you get the ball bagged into your red zone, man, it's hard to get up out of there, man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you got to respect Alabama having these long play drives and holding the ball for 3 minutes or 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you can go 90-some yards or 80-some yards, man, listen, you got an offense on you. And you ain't talking about no Rudy Poo defenses that they're playing against. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to respect that part of it. And then at that, like, people, like, we haven't brought up the fact that, like, our special teams has played good the last couple games. And I think, you know, even on that last drive when we kicked the ball, I think QB Reese had a real big hit on that special team. On that kickoff. But our kickers did good. That punter, man, listen. Sign him up today, coach. I listen. Yeah. I depend on him.
AJ, you were really good this first segment, but I think we got to go with Trent with the late victory by dropping a quote from The Rock. He went Rudy Poo. He didn't drop candy ass at the end of it, but he did go Rudy Poo on that. So he is a late charge. We'll call it a draw. How about that? Because y'all were both dang good. But he didn't rear back when he did the Rudy Poo. Rudy Poo. All right. When we come back, we're going to go the good, the bad, the ugly from the South Carolina win. Just getting going on the Dynasty, a podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Breakfast might be the most important choice you make all day. That's because with Wendy's 2 for $3 breakfast, you can mix and match your very own perfect pairing of our delicious morning favorites.
With this breakfast deal, the choice is all yours, not someone else's. And isn't that how it should be? It's your breakfast, after all, not Martha's. She can pick her own breakfast. This one's all for you. No matter what you choose, from our sausage biscuit with that grilled breakfast sausage, or the egg and cheese biscuit with fresh cracked grade A egg and melty American cheese on a fluffy buttermilk biscuit, a small size of perfectly seasoned potatoes, or a medium hot coffee to power through the morning. All you got to do is pick your ideal morning pair.
You really can't lose because you're the one calling the shots. The choice is all yours.
Wake up to Wendy's 2 for $3 breakfast just the way you want it. Limited time only during breakfast hours. U.S. price and participation may vary. No substitutions, not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price. We're back on the Dynasty, a podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Don't forget you can find us on all of the YouTube, Apple, Spotify platforms where you get your podcast. The dynastybama.com is the best place to go, and you can just find the hubs from there. And at the Dynasty Bama is where we ask you to find us across social media. Hope you'll listen, rate, review as you check us out there. Hey, before we get into talking more about the South Carolina game, I want to let you know that this Wednesday, Alabama head coach Kalen DeBoer is going to join Urban Meyer, Mark Ingram, and Rob Stone on the triple option. Same place you find our podcast is where you'll find that one, and you can also find them on social media at 3X Option Show. Again, it's called the Triple Option, 3X Option Show. All right, guys, let's get into the good, the bad, and the ugly from the South Carolina game this week. I don't know which one of you guys want to go first. I'll throw it up and let y'all jump for it. But what's the good this week specifically from you guys, even though the W is the best thing we know?
I mean, the good for me is you found a way to get a win. in a hostile environment. You found a way to get through this basically 5-week stretch of the gauntlet in the SEC, winning all 5 of them, and that's a unbelievable achievement when you compare it to most of the other SEC teams that are going on around the conference right now. So that's for me easily the good. I mean, it's an awesome job. I said this place was going to be a hostile environment. It was going to be loud. It's a tough place to win at, and I think guys are finally seeing. Listen, you play at the University of Alabama, you're going to have a target on the front and the back. So you're going to get everybody's best game week in and week out. Be ready to go. And I was proud of the team for coming out with a win.
How about for you, Trent?
The good for me, man, we had some big turnovers, big time turnovers on defense. We had the pick 6, and we did have the fourth quarter. Was it their last drive or the drive before their last? I think it might have been their last drive when
after we tied it up, they got the fumble recovery.
Second of their last drive when we stripped Sellers.
Yeah, we stripped the ball, yeah. Because,
I mean,
guys, hands down playing against Sellers, man, that was a show, and that was one of those games that that you're going to be going in it all day, especially how good that defense was too. So, being able to get those turnovers is always a good thing.
For me, it's just being able to engineer. We talk about the team finding a way to win when you're not your best. I think you could bring that specifically to Ty as well, because he had some good numbers, but not great numbers like he has. And he was his best on that final drive. He like everybody else, missed some opportunities earlier, but when you had to be precise and there was no room for error down the stretch, he was terrific. And to me, that was a really good. That was the good, is that Ty specifically didn't let it go back to Tallahassee for him. He was able to put it all together when the game itself was on the line, which gives everybody even more confidence in him than they already had. Trent, we'll let you go with the bad first. You get the first shot at what you saw as the bad in this one.
The bad for me, man, we got to catch the ball when it's thrown to us. Because, I mean, like we say, like, we left a lot of football out there. But, Ty didn't play his best game, but part of that is because receivers are not catching the ball. And we got to do better with our hands with that. And if we can do that, man, I think that softened up more for the run game. So you just got to catch the ball, complete the ones that are supposed to be completed.
AJ?
Yeah, the bad for me, and this is just me and, critiquing him at the highest level, but for Ty is to find a way to continue to be accurate with the football. I thought he missed some throws that you're not used to seeing him miss, and what I expect of him. And listen, I high expectations for him. Like I said, I've known the kid for a long time, trained with him, and spent time with him and his dad, and awesome family, by the way. But just me being extra critical of him from a sense of, making sure our feet are under us. I thought, the miss to Bernard over the middle was a big miss, because I think if you hit that, he scores easily. And for some deep balls, finding a way to try to give him a chance a little bit. And also, I thought he had Bernard on the go route, underthrew that one. But listen, that's just being critical. We got to find something, and I think you're just not used to and seeing that from Ty. So that's part of it. You're gonna have those games, but just finding a way to get back to making sure you're playing under your technique and under your base, and don't miss the ones you can make.
Right. And for me, it's you kind of played into their hands to set up what almost happened. You let them hang around, but did some things to, it was 14-6, and I thought they'd outplayed us. So I give Bama a lot of credit for still, when you're, again, not your best, managed to have that lead. And I guess I'm cheating. I'm going back to a good first time I think that we've trailed in the fourth quarter or in the second half maybe since the Florida State game and still found a way to get it done. So you had the lead, you let it get away, but you got it back. You didn't panic. And that was good. Trent, what have you got for the ugly in this one? Give us the ugly out of this.
The ugly for this is the run game. Ain't nowhere in hell the University of Alabama got 2 rushing yards in the first half. I can't believe that. And listen, we got to get better because we got to be able to help the throw game out. We got to be able to balance this offense because if we can't, I'm telling you, man, it's going to be hell when it comes to people trying to handicap us with just being able to run the ball.
Mhm.
Like we got to. If we don't, man, I'm telling you, it's going to be one of those type things to where it's going to be those games that come down to 4th and 1, and we do not believe in our offensive line. We do not believe in our run game. When you got guys like Daniel Hill, you got guys like Jan Miller, you got guys like, and I love what they're doing with Bernard. To me, he's the run game right now. Last game,
Right.
to me, that's what he was. So we got to get better in the run game, fellas.
No argument, except the 2 best runs we had did come on that final drive. Daniel Hill only finished with 10 yards, but he had 11 on one big run in there.
And
of
I think
course,
they make up for it with him in a passing game.
Yeah, I got you.
But we need some legit
we're thinking
run plays.
traditional run.
Yeah.
The traditional run. I agree with you. How about you, AJ?
Yeah, the ugly for me is probably the polar opposite of the good from a sense of my point in that section. Offense has got to continue to find ways to get points and not have these lulls that just last for so long in the game, and especially the second half. I think when you look at the second half for the last 3-4 weeks, it's just we've come out and we've started slow. I mean, we got to find a way to start the second half and go down, drive down, get points, and continue some momentum that we've had coming out of the first half. So I think that's the biggest thing for me when it comes to the ugly is we just got to continue to put pressure. And when you have a team down is you go ahead and, foot on the throat and finish them off. But in the end, we finished the game, and that's all you can ask for. But I'd like to see the offense continue to put up points.
Guys, we're biased, I know, but I think we do a pretty good job of, trying to be clear in our thoughts and fair with that. So that being said, does Bama have the best resume in the country among one-loss teams at this point? I mean, you're talking about a number 4 strength of record and strength of schedule according to ESPN's metrics. You got 4 straight wins over ranked teams during our stretch. I mean, it's a 5-game deal where we knew that it wasn't going to guarantee a championship, but it would guarantee you're not in the mix if you don't take care of business. And Alabama has more than done that. Took away margin for error in the minds of some with the loss to Florida State, but now you're sitting here undefeated in the conference, and you're a clear consensus top 4 team. Would either of you guys argue with that?
No, I mean, not at all. Listen, I think Alabama has shown they're the best team in the country. I don't care if you,
you think number 1?
Huh?
You think number 1?
I think number 1. I mean, I think when you put our resume up against Ohio State, I don't think it's even close. So, and people say, oh, well, that's bias and everything. Of course, they're going to say that. But you look at our schedule compared to theirs. Hell, I'd put ours up against anybody, in the country. And the back-to-back the weeks that you've had to play the teams we played. I don't know how many teams come out of that, 5-0, 4-0, whatever it was. So, and then hell, to look at the future, I mean, you still got LSU, who's struggled, and we'll get to the firing of their coach here in a minute, but they're still a dangerous team and still have a lot of firepower on the offensive side and defensive side. And then you go Oklahoma after that. It's a top probably 15 team in the country. And then Auburn to finish it off at the end of the year, which, I mean, hell, it's been in every game. I don't care if what the record is. They've been in every game, and they've played a ton of rank. All of their opponents they've lost to have been ranked and highly ranked. And so, and I think the biggest margin, of loss they've had in that has been 10 points. So, it's I think it's clear cut number one.
Trent, how about you?
Yeah, I agree with everything AJ just said because, I mean, you think about it, like, the teams that they say who got the hardest schedule, I mean, we play the same teams, right? And, before the season, people wasn't looking at us as a top 4, top 5 school, especially when we lost the first game of the season. So when you think about it like that, man, and on that stretch, like, that's a brutal stretch, man. Like, the SEC, and that's why we was hard in the beginning of the show was on, like, why would we add a 9-game schedule to the SEC and play anybody else other than the SEC? Like, It don't make sense. And I'm sorry we had to convert back to that. But, I mean, you just look at the gauntlet we'd have been through. You look at the gauntlet that a lot of these SEC teams are going through right now. We still have, 5 to 6 teams in the top 15, top 20?
Got a lot.
Like, it's probably more than that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so what do people get off to where they be like, the SEC is still the most dominant conference in the nation, in the world?
Yeah. All right. We're going to take a break right here. And Stephen, by the way, Steve Gorgie, fantastic producer, just reminded me that it is 5 of the top 10 and 9 in the top 20 from the SEC. But other than that, really not very good. We come back. We're going to take a look at our Wonder Fan picks of the week, games of the week to watch, I should say. And then we're also going to talk a little LSU and talk some bye week and how important that is as well. Stay with us as we're coming back for our final segment of the Dynasty, a podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Support for the Dynasty comes from Google. Every August, we talk about new rule changes coming to college football, but now that we're in the middle of the season, hard to follow the real impact those rules are having on the games, like the big one being the crackdown on fake injuries. And we saw that be a big part of conversation during the offseason for the last few years. Trying to get that out of the way is a big part of the conversation. But with AI mode in Google search, you can just type in, how have this year's college football rule changes impacted the season so far? And AI mode will put together the key details and give you a summarized AI-powered response. It's perfect for those big, nuanced questions that don't have one simple answer.
It doesn't end there. Let's say you want to keep digging deeper. With AI mode, you don't have to start a new search. You can ask direct follow-ups to learn more about specifics or explore related ideas.
So whether you're wondering about a complex scheme, a new rule, or how the transfer portal works, with AI mode, you can just ask Google.
You know that feeling when your team wins? It's electric. You're pacing the room, texting your group chat, yelling like you called the game-winning play yourself. Now imagine that winning energy hits right as your DoorDash order arrives. Perfect timing. Drinks are cold, pizza's hot, wings and fries are perfectly crispy. Now you're not just a fan, you're a winner. DoorDash turns every good college football game day into a great one, with game day favorites delivered right to your door, right when you need them the most. So go ahead, ride that high, celebrate that W. Just try not to spike the remote out of excitement when the food shows up. Your team wins, you win. DoorDash delivers the W in food form. Back for the final segment on the Dynasty, a podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Again, YouTube, Apple, Spotify is wherever you get your podcast is where you can find us. If you're looking for the show, just go to thedynastybama.com. And if you are listening, please rate, review, and be sure to check us out across social media. At the Dynasty Bama is the handle for those social media platforms. All right, guys, before we get into our Wonder Fan must-watch games of the week for Week 10, want to let everybody know about a really special outing that we've got coming up in Tuscaloosa, Friday, November 7th, before the Alabama LSU game. So the day before the game, the Athletes First Tailgate Tour is coming to town to host the ultimate all-inclusive tailgate experience. It's a free event to guests. It's going to take place at 2 Dimes on the Strip from 4 until 7:30 Central. Food, drinks, games, giveaways, music, and yes, a live episode, no nets on this one, a live episode of The Dynasty starting at 5 o'clock that day. I will be overdressed because of commitment afterwards, but I look good in a tux, so be sure to check that out. I need all the help I can get. We're also going to be joined by a Bama great, Landon Collins, former Tide DB, a great one, is going to help us break down the matchup between the Tigers and the Tide. Again, that's going to be at 2 Dimes on Friday, November 7th for the tailgate of the weekend. If you can't make it in person, don't worry. The show's going to be live streamed on YouTube, so make sure you're following us on YouTube at youtube.com/@thedynastybama. Time now for our must-watch games of the week, brought to you by Wonder Fan, the app that pays you to be a fan. The Wonder Fan app, absolutely free to use. You get rewards for doing things you already love doing, like attending games, watching live sports on TV, and now watching podcasts like The Dynasty on YouTube as well, AJ.
Yeah, but none of that happens unless you download the app. So got to make sure you go and download it. It only takes a couple minutes to do so. And listen, you can get paid to watch that Bama comeback like I did. So go get the app.
It's good. It's good way to make it. That's for sure. If you want to get paid to watch this show, very easy as well. You earn 50 Wonder is what we call it, or your points, by submitting a screenshot in the Wonder Fan app as you watch our podcast on your connected TV or any second screen, just as you do when watching live sports. And as always, you're going to earn double points when you use Wonder Fan's Watch to Earn feature for any of our must-watch games of the week. So let's take a look at what games you're going to have your eye on this week. Trent, we'll start with you. What are you going to be watching?
I will be watching Oklahoma and Tennessee at Tennessee, and definitely Oklahoma. They just lost. See how they can bounce back. I think they lost against Texas this week. Was it Texas? Yeah, Texas.
No.
Oklahoma. No. They
Ole Miss.
I'm sorry, Ole Miss. I'm sorry.
Yep.
My
it
bad,
was a Manning involved. I understand why you went the Ole Miss route.
It was. My bad.
Not
but they played okay. They didn't do enough to win. But Tennessee had 3 receivers over 100 yards. So you tell them what you're gonna do with that, and they can run a ball too. So they had over 100 rushing yards and 3-something on in the air. Quarterback played great. So I would love to see the matches of the quarterback and how the defense is going to respond on both ends.
AJ, I know it's got to be somewhere in Revelation. Jesus is coming back soon, because you got Vanderbilt going to Texas as maybe the favorite in this ball game. How crazy is that? But the doors are indeed for real, and Texas is going to be providing the opposition.
Yeah. Listen, Clark Lee has done an unbelievable job for Vandy. And the hype that this team has had, one, because of the job he's done, but also the way Pavi has played the last 2 years. And I think the best part about it is the fact that usually when you have that type of media mass and distraction, I mean, it hasn't affected the team. The team is really just built up and fed off of this media coverage, and it's been awesome to see for them. And listen, Texas came off of a unbelievable comeback win for them, and another place I think is one of the toughest places to play in the SEC at Mississippi State in an overtime win. So both teams are fighting for their right to stay in this playoff hunt. Vandy's in a better situation than what Texas is, but Texas has got to win out and to even be in the conversation. So it's going to be an interesting game. And hell, never in my lifetime would I have thought that, like you said, Chris, Vandy would be going to Texas and be the favorite in anything, especially not football.
Exactly
but it's awesome
right.
to see.
It is. It's been pretty cool. A lot of morbid curiosity for people tuning in, myself included, I think, for Georgia and Florida. It's normally called the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. I think Florida fans are just doing shots, trying to get this one over with. I do think it's got a chance to be a really good football game, though, because Florida does have some talent, and Georgia has shown the ability to play down to the level of their competition. Florida's got their, nothing to lose in this deal, which can make a talented team pretty dangerous in a situation like this. So, again, want to remind you, you can earn double points when you use WonderFan's Watch to Earn feature on any of our must-watch games of the week: Oklahoma, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Texas, Georgia, Florida. The best part is we remind you, you can redeem those points for things you actually want, like memorabilia, gear, gift cards, Trent, some of your favorite restaurants and retailers. What you going after on the freebie department there, Trent?
Know me, man. I'm gonna go back to Dick's. Sporting good. TJ is now on size 14, and basketball season is starting for middle school. So we will be definitely be in there.
All right, good deal. And probably 15 by the time this podcast drops with the way he's growing right now. So that's awesome. So if you're ready to start getting paid to be a fan, visit WonderFan. That's WUNDERFAN.com, or search for WonderFan in the Apple or Android store to download the app today. WonderFan, where it pays to be a fan. Guys, we only got a few minutes left. Let's get into one of the big stories outside of Tuscaloosa, even though it obviously affects the Crimson Tide, because the next opponent, how about this? Not only are you scheming for a team and you wonder what they're going to run, hey, by the way, new coach coming in. Frank Wilson, the interim head coach for the LSU Tigers, now that Brian Kelly has been bought out and sent back from whence he came. What are you thinking, AJ? First of all, do you agree with the decision now of all times to make the change on the head coach?
Well, listen, I'm never in favor of firing a coach during the season, but it's the way college football is now. I think there's more to come in the SEC and around the country. Listen, you're in October, and I think there's like 12 or 13 head coach openings already, which is just wild. Usually you don't see that till November. And I think we were at 11 and towards the beginning of October, mid-October. So it's a wild time. Listen, I never really liked the hire. When they hired BK. Do I think BK is a bad coach? No. His opening deal at the basketball game and brought out a fake Southern accent and everything. Like, I have a lot of Cajun friends, and one thing they can find is BS. Their BS meter goes up quick. They can find fake, and I just thought that whole deal was weird. All of a sudden he's changing his accent, and then
oh gosh, it was the worst.
Dancing against the back of a recruit on the little spin deal was weird.
That was a little awkward.
Yeah, it was just, it's all weird. But listen, $54 million Hell, show like Coach O said, show me what door to walk out of. 'Cause I'll happily walk out of that for $54 million. But it's going to be interesting. I think they're, from a scheme standpoint, they're going to be the same thing. I mean, BK wasn't calling anything. Joe's still going to be the offense coordinator. They're still going to have the same D coordinator.
Hang on one second. They fired him too. Yeah, they did fire Sloan as OC.
Oh, they did?
And that's one of the things that's been kind of crazy
Which
with
is
this.
wild.
And I don't know what's fact and what's not. Apparently, the talk was, AJ, there was a meeting between Scott Woodward, the AD, and Kelly. I, again, don't know if all this is accurate or not, but one of the things we're seeing on Sunday night is that there's this meeting, and he was told he had to get rid of the OC, and he wanted to get rid of the DC. So they got rid of Brian Kelly, and they got rid of the OC. But there was talk last night they were going to get rid of Scott Woodward too, because think about this: the two biggest contracts, according to this story that I read, the two biggest contracts, Jimbo Fisher and Brian Kelly was second. The guy that gave both of those contracts, Scott Woodward. So, interesting. Former FSU OC Alex Atkins, is going to be the primary play caller. Y'all recognize the name Tim Rattay? He's the analyst. He's going to be as well. Tim Rattay, I just made Bama fans twitch like crazy. He was the quarterback at Louisiana Tech when they upset Alabama when Mike DuBose was the head coach. Y'all were in diapers about that time, but I remember I was doing sidelines on pay-per-view. That was not a pleasant day at all. At all. Lane Kiffin's name's coming up in Baton Rouge just like it is with Florida and every other job. It's, we've said it before. We've said it somewhat in jest, but once again, it's good to be Lane Kiffin.
Hell, it's good to be Jimmy Sexton.
Well, that's the best thing to be.
That's the guy.
That's the one to be.
I mean,
what do you think?
He's got every big time coach there is, and
GM.
Yeah, I mean, he's just, he's a powerhouse when it comes to that. So it's going to be interesting. This whole deal, this carousel of coaches. I think, like I said, I think there's a lot more to come in the SEC. I mean, we're sitting at what? How many right now? 3 in the SEC already openings.
Yeah. Steve reminds us of that.
And you still got, you don't know what Kentucky's going to do. You don't know what other coaches are going to leave. You really don't know what Auburn's going to do. Now you got rumors out there about Sark. Does Lane leave? Like, coaches leaving, bring more openings. So it's just it's a wild time in the SEC and in college football. But that's NIL for you, and the era we're in, where I think it's going to get more and more coaches fired because people just expect winning. When in all of college football, there's 3 head coaches with national championships, and that's it. But everybody expects to win a national championship every year, which is wild.
So I got a question for y'all, and I know we ain't got that much time left. Will you see another 10-year coach again? 10-year or longer coach again?
Whew.
I think it's going to have to be Kirby.
There's got to be an emotional tie besides
other
the winning.
than Kirby.
Yeah.
Because Kirby and Dabo, like, other than them, like, are we going to see that again? Like, they're already in the books. You know what I'm saying? Like, are we going to see?
Here's one I'll tell you, and AJ, I definitely want your thoughts on this. And this is just a quick reaction.
And this don't have to come from being fired, y'all. Like,
no, I got it.
Go. Yeah. I'm just letting the world know. Like, I'm just.
I know that there were people calling for his firing a month ago, so I know how quick things can change. But I think it would take somebody like a Kalen DeBoer who wins, has a likable personality, easygoing, even-tempered, that could manage it. I'm not saying it'll be him. I'm just saying somebody like that who seems to be pretty grounded in things, and he cares about football and family, because a lot of these guys, they're jumping, and whatever's the biggest contract, that seems to be the type and plus the pressure of it. And by no means we know Alabama can be as much pressure as anybody. But while Nick Saban could handle the pressure because he grabbed it by the throat, I think Kalen DeBoer has shown he can let it roll off his back and still stand strong. Now, there's a lot more to go before that book is written, and you get to the finish line with it. But I think somebody like that who's really secure in who they are and what they want out of life and doesn't really see themselves as defined by the job itself is going to be the type person that can do it if it can be done at all.
Yeah. I guess I'm on the other side. I don't think it's possible. One, because you got so many more people involved now, from having GMs, ADs are feeling such a pressure now, from a social media standpoint and all the outside noise to get things done. There's such a high expectation for every school now. And like I said, that's why I brought up there's 3 coaches that in college football that have national championships. But look at how many firings have happened all over college football, not just in the SEC, just everywhere. To where they're firing coaches at places that these places haven't won and haven't been relevant in the last 10, 20 years. So, but they're expecting to all of a sudden just be winning and be in a playoff, position. I just think the expectations are unrealistic. And I think with the day and age we live in, social media, I think it only amplifies everything else even more. And so I don't know if it's so much on, coaches being able to handle it. I think it's the presidents and the ADs of universities that have to, who, the schools that are able to fight the noise and battle the adversity and the ups and downs and being a roller coaster, the ones that are in, the position of power and leadership at these universities, if they can maintain a level head and not worry about the outside noise, I think that's where you're going to find the most consistent, um, long tenure coaches, is with ADs and presidents, because I mean, they're under pressure as well, to, just from fans and from people donating money and everything, because hell, more than anybody, they're having to make calls more than the head coach. And the head coach's job is go out and focus on the season and recruiting and win games. We got people in position, and it's the AD's job to go out and find you money. Right. And if they're going out and calling all these same people over and over and asking them, hey, we need another million or another 500K or whatever, and these people are giving money, but they're not seeing results, at what point does that call that's been, getting accepted starts going to voicemail? And it's like, hey, now it leads to emails, and then now it leads to no communication. So, and then that pressure comes back on them, and then they're getting fired. So, I think it's going to be tough in this era of football we're in.
Also, what's going to be tough is to go through a week without a game for Alabama fans. But I think for the players and coaches, they're going to be glad. They are glad it's the case. Chance to kind of reboot and get refocused, hopefully get healthy, and get ready for the stretch that will determine if this is a championship run or another year that comes up just short of being in the mix for everything. We'll kind of discuss that and the others that are in the mix as well next week. Again, Appreciate so much you joining us. For AJ, for Trent, I'm Chris. Roll Tide, everybody.